welcome everyone to the Downtown Mineral Gallery this afternoon, 2024. I'm glad to be a part of this. My name is Steve Ebert, and to my left, we have Ian Bruce, owner of Crystal Classics and UK Mining Ventures. Earlier this morning, we had a lovely presentation from Jesse Fisher on history of the Rogerley Mine up in June 2017, and we will have Ian Bruce and Deanna Bruce here shortly giving a presentation on the Rogerley Mines in 2017. So without any further ado, Ian Bruce, take it away.
Thank you, Stu. Well, as Stu announced, this was a joint talk by Diana and myself, but in the middle of a show, it's sometimes difficult for us to get away, and we do have a few clients in, and she's just completing a sale, so she will appear sometime over the next hour, and I'll have to try and step in for the bit she was going to do. But as those of you that know us, my wife always has something to say, and this is Deanna, one of the only 6 foot tall supermodels I've ever met that always dreamt of having her own mine. So that's how the Deanna Maria mine was born, and we've had it since 2017. We bought it from Jesse and Cal, much against their advice, but we've had a lot of fun. So this is, as Jesse said earlier, the Northern Pennines. It's an ancient mining field, beautiful area in the north of England. If you ever get the chance to go, everybody here is welcome to come and visit us. So just let us know, and we'd love to have you all up at the mine getting dirty with us. Over the next hour, we're going to be talking about the geology, the history of the mining of the Rogerley Mine, all the different minerals we found. We're gonna not focus on Rogerley because Jesse's already done that. We are going to focus on the Deanna Maria mine, which is our main operation now. And a future lecture, we'll talk about our time up at the Lady Annabella mine, which is now unfortunately worked out. We'd love to have continued that mine, but there's nothing left to mine. The quarrying operation took it all away before us, so we were lucky enough to get the remnants. The rest is history. So, Northern England, that's where the mine is. London's down here. We're up in the rainy bit, which is up there. This is a map of the Wear Valley. The famous Rogerley mine is here. The Deanna Maria mine is just there to the north of it. The mining town of Stanup's there, and the Lady Annabella mine was here. This is about 6 miles, 7 miles between the two. This is Stannup, ancient mining town. There's the Stannup Castle, just there. Beautiful small mining town. We love our time up there. As you can see, it's very green. Lots and lots of rain. I'll keep talking about the rain, but I always disagreed with everybody about the rain in England until I started spending time in the north. We get a lot of rain up there. Jesse knows better than anyone, I think. So this is flying over the River Wear into the old Rogerley quarry, the old Rogerley mine. So this is where the old mine is just to the right, and this is the new site for the Deanna Maria project. So this is the open pit when we started. Here's the vein. So you can see we did an open pit just here in 2017, and this is where we started finding specimens. You can see here, we'll see a close-up later, but this is a close-up of the collapsed breccia pipe that produced the Graver Jones pocket. And Ian Jones is here in the audience tonight. He was one of my very close friends in the UK, and he was up, and we named the pocket after he and Cal Graver, who were up collecting at the time with us. So the Northern Pennine ore field, very, very rich, very, very rich ore field, dates back, it's certainly before the 12th century, but there are very extant records back to the 12th century. But undoubtedly, even in Roman times, this was, they produced lead and silver there, really for thousands of years. Here you can see the a very simplified geological plan here. You've got all the veins. These are the major veins here. This is the slit vein, where you've got the great mines like Blackdean's just here, Heights, the famous Heights mine, Camber Kills mine just here, Boltspur mine, one of the world's greatest specimen mines, is just here. And over here, you've got all the lead mining district around the Elston Moor. Very, very rich, very, very rich. So how did the mineralization get there? It's all related to the North Pennine batholith. There are five granite plutons. The biggest one is the Weardale pluton, which is this one, and that one is where most of the fluorite mineralization occurs. You know, Scordale. This is where the Hilton mine produces the amazing yellow fluorites, and a lot of good barites from the mines around there. We're only just starting to understand the relationship between the granites and the mineralization. There were 2 boreholes put down into through the limestones into the granite underneath to explore back in the 60s, 1960s, exactly what was underneath, was there a granite down there. And this is the famous Rookup borehole, 1961, 800 meters they drilled it for, and they found the top of the granite at 390 meters. So the vein mineralization is all related to the North Pennine batholith intrusions. The Weardale granite, it's interesting. The top of it was weathered, so it was obviously exposed before the limestones were laid down on top of it. The faulting and the joint development that occurred with the movement of the granite at a later date created a lot of huge faults, and they go all the way up through the limestone, and these are the faults that controlled the fluorine-rich fluids and the lead-rich fluids to create the fabulous fluorspar and galena deposits that we get there today. So what does that mean? Basically, these are the fractures that, and these can go down 300-400 meters, a kilometer down into the granite, and they were the pathways for the fluorspar-rich, for the lead-rich fluids to flow up through the limestone. And these guys, you know, they were superheated. They were very happy to migrate upwards towards a slightly low pressures environment, and you know, some of the events that caused it were quite explosive. You often get these explosive breccias, and they were quite happy permeating up through the limestone, dissolving the limestone importantly. And it was the dissolving of the limestone that created all these amazing cavities that we love, because that's where the crystals all form. And one of the factors that caused big cavities to form were these permeability barriers, which were shale bands. So the shale bands were very impermeable. The fluids were very happy coming up until you hit this bloody shale band, and then they had nowhere to go. So what did they do? They started migrating along the shale bands, dissolving out all the limestone. And this is where the local term flats, which was the name for the deposits where the crystals occurred. That's where the flats occurred. Ah,
sorry, revelation never.
that's okay. So yeah, that sums up just about what I said. So the size of the cavities can be really quite big. Some of the cavities in mines like the Boltspur mine were, you know, they were tens of meters, maybe hundreds of meters long. The scale of the mineralization was huge. In the Rogerley mine and the Diana Maria mine, our cavities are not that big. They're very narrow, but they can run for a few tens of meters. Some of the cavities are very small, and some are quite large. So just in time, I did my bit.
You did your bit, and now it's my bit. All right.
Timing.
So, as you can see, so we're only touching the base of the Rogerley mine and the specimens that have been found there, because although we took the project over in 2017 and initially exploration work started there in 1972 by Lindsay and Patricia Greenbank and Mick and Linda Sutcliffe, we actually only touched the surface brought it up to code, and then concentrated our operations to the Diana Maria mine. So we have here just one example. Obviously here it details again what I already said, that then also Cal Graber and Jesse Fisher were involved in the operations at the Rogerley Mine. And UK Mining Ventures took then over 2017 these workings. So popular really across the globe, and also with numerous mineral magazines. Our choice here, a German magazine called Lapis, and featuring many of their title pages. And since the popularity of those publications that also we then started producing in-house grew, we decided to do one every year, actually highlighting the progress we've made. So you see here the years 2018 through to 21. Always a different picture. 21 featured for the first time a specimen from the Lady Annabella mine, which we started working on in 2020, named after our daughter born in 2020. And here the newest publications, 22, 23, and as you can see there, the Fluorite Weardale publication that will be available here. So just finished. Features all finds made until December 2023, also including some pockets we have not yet released, including also new pockets that will be released here at the show. As we progress, so it's always a learning curve, labels, minerals, everybody can put a location on there. And our customers always pointed out the catchy names of all our pockets that were established. So you have here just a few: Greedy Hog, Honey Bear, Truffle Pit, Milky Way, Supernova, or Northern Lights. So Ian thought, why not actually incorporate a little bit more than just the name, make them a little bit more fun, provide more information. So here you see the labels we produced with, having a bit of fun. So the Honey Bear is, I think, probably my favorite. So the really nice yellow fluorites from Diana Maria mine. So here we have an aerial view. So we are actually, the grass is really greener up in the north of England, possibly due to the tremendous amount of rainfall that we have. First mining season, 2017. I literally thought, what is going on? If it wouldn't have been for the fabulous fluorites, probably would have given up. So here we are flying right into Rogerley Mine quarry. So, and you're seeing it right there. So we're heading straight towards the portal. There's our base with all the cabins where we store ventilation, and that's Rogerley Mine right there. And currently, obviously, discontinued just because the workings itself are unsafe at the moment. So we had just too much loose and movement in the rocks above us that we said we concentrate at Diana Maria Mine.
So this is an overview of the vein systems in the Rogerley quarry. So this is the old Rogerley mine that mined along the Greenbank vein, and you can see it's roughly a roughly north-south vein. And this is the Sutcliffe vein, which is more or less east-west, and this is the River Catcher vein. And when we mapped it, we decided that because of some of the interesting fluorites that were found just here in the quarry, the old quarry face, that quite possibly here on the intersections of the north-south and the east-west veins, we should get some nice enrichment. And that's what we were hoping to find, the development of nice big cavities, which is quite normal in the area, to find a lot of enrichment at the intersection zones. We based our whole project on going in there, driving in a new tunnel to see if there was any enrichment at the intersection. And luckily, we found quite a lot on the way in, as we'll show you in a minute. So this is where the most of the mineralization is hosted. In the Weardale district, it's a bed called the Great Limestone. Just here you can see the start of the shale bands, just here and just here. So these were the impermeable layers that stopped the fluids getting any further up. And it was in this Great Limestone where most of the major mineral deposits in the Weardale district have been mined. There's usually a lot of fossilized coral in the Great Limestone, specifically around the fluorite mineralization. So the great coral, there was probably a lot more carbon in it. It produced a reducing environment where perhaps a lot of minerals could be deposited, and we do see a lot of an awful lot of mineralization just wherever you find these bioherms, the old fossilized corals. Quite often you'll get corals replaced by fluorite or by some mines with sphalerite, and they can make very interesting specimens. So we're just panning through the great limestone in the Rogerley quarry face. This is the great limestone just running up to the Sutcliffe vein, to the where the Diana Maria mine is, and this is right at the start of our operation. So we were just clearing off the overburden, just delving into the vein there to see what the structure was like, and if it was worth putting a very expensive tunnel into the vein to see if we could find anything. It costs about $2,000 a meter, so it's about say it's $1,000 a foot to drive a tunnel. So every foot we drive cost me $1,000. It's not a cheap operation. It's as Jesse will tell you. So this is showing the. Sorry, it's a bit quiet, but this is showing one of the bioherms underground, and this was at the Wolfie pocket, which was the first big pocket we found in the Rogerley mine. And around that pocket there was a lot of this coraliferous limestone, locally called Fosterley marble. And if you're ever lucky enough to go to Durham and go to the huge cathedral there, it's a big Norman cathedral, and you look at the pillars. They actually made the pillars out of this, and the huge pillars, 100-foot high pillars, out of this amazing Fosterley marble. So a little bit of geology. So that's the quarry before we turned it into a mine. This quarry was abandoned, I guess, in the 1950s. So great limestone here. There's our shale band, and these lovely little veins which go down probably about 1 kilometre. They were the pathway for the fluids to come up, and the fluids were really happy just coming up to the surface of the earth until they hit this shale band, and then it caused all this fluorite mineralization here and on the River Catcher vein just here, and this is what we've been mining. So this was right at the start. This was the first days of mining in 2018 when we were just ripping the top off the outcrop there. I think that's Diana's father there. No, so I think that's me actually. Marcus Walter from Germany. This was at the Diana Maria mine in May 2018, just before we put the portal in. This is Jakob, one of our miners. He's actually stood, and here we didn't realise that we just hit the start of the famous Queen of Green pocket, which is one of the best pockets ever of green fluorite ever found. There's a few examples in that cabinet of some of our specimens, and a couple of the nice Queen of Greens are in there if you want to look, if you haven't seen them already. So this is some great drone footage that Brian Swoboda had taken for us, and this is when we first broke into the very rich mineralized. I think I'm going to throw a stone at his drone there, but you can see here the fluorite. Just here, look, there's some of the fluorite, and it's a beautiful big collapsed breccia here, which produced some very nice specimens. Unfortunately, towards the surface, a lot of them were very worn. The weather had got to them. The fluorite's quite susceptible to weathering, and we had a lot of fun here collecting specimens in the mud and rain. As Diana said, it was a very rainy season this one.
It's very exciting surface mining. So because you can see the daylight fluorescence, everything looks so good. It's wet, it's lustrous. You think, oh my God, this is like the big hoard. And once they dry out, not everything is as nice as it seemed on the first day, because like Ian said, the weathering will edge quite heavily on the surface of the fluorites. And
so this was 2018. We were just getting ready to to put the new entrance to the mine in there. So we have a big steel portal at the front for protection. And that's it. Once we'd installed the portal, the mine now goes back in about 200 meters, 600 feet. So do the math on that. It's very expensive mining.
And that's just one drive. So we have various exploration drives. As you can see, when you look at the publications, you can definitely see the developments.
So this is right at the start. Quite exciting. We're going to show you our first blasts. So in a minute we'll put the flaps down on the portal, and I think we were about 5 meters underground by this time. So we're just about to do a big blast. And we put them down to stop the rock flying out. So over the last few years, we've done a lot of blasting, as you can imagine.
Boys and their toys, hey? So, but where has it gotten us to? So as you can see, that's really the thing. You have an idea, you explore, you have a dream about establishing a mine, finding minerals yourself, and it really worked out. So Diana Maria really exceeded all expectations that we had so far. You look at the various different colorations. So you have green from the Queen of Green with the calcite. You have purple from the Purple Haze. You have some yellows from the River Catcher, and also now from the Honey Bear. So it really exceeded sort of those expectations of not just green fluorites, that it also has various other colors.
So this is just a quick overview of one of our road maps. One of the things we've done in the mining project is we have a very good geologist there, and we've made very good geological work, and we have very detailed geological maps to record all the faulting and try and predict where the next pockets will be, because they're usually not where you think they'll be. We've certainly, anybody that's mined for specimens will know that they're never where you would really want them to be.
Educated guesses.
So over the last 7 years, these are the pockets we found on the Sutcliffe vein, and the Sutcliffe vein, as Diana said, has been amazing because the variety of colours and associations and habits and the zoning have just been amazing. You know, for any mine anywhere in the world, every pocket seems to be a little bit different.
And obviously we're well aware that sometimes it can be quite frustrating. I just go along with the slides. When you're finding these different pockets, you feel like, oh, can they not go on forever? But unfortunately, that's not really how it works. And also the amount of specimens that have specimen quality are always very, very minute. So although it looks all, wow, look at this, all this purple, this green, this blue, it is sometimes better than it or it looks better than it actually is once you've taken it home, it dries out, you look at the consistency and whatever has been produced. So this is again a snapshot in time, 2017. That's how we worked. So the day-to-day workings were we carried everything up that ramp, unloaded everything 3-4 trips. We got really fit, you know, that summer, I can assure you that. And then we unpacked it all. We had water there, and then it was water, washing, and then trying to find it, picking up the little twins and the specimens, and really good workouts until we were able to put it underground. Some of the surface pockets included Graber Jones, named after Cal Graber and Ian Jones. Here, which is now a very sought after pocket. Then we're flicking relatively quickly through those slides because it just shows an example of specimens from each pocket or some of the pockets. So the zoning on Graber Jones and the contrast being on quartz really, really mesmerized us and really was the driving pocket that said, let's continue this project. Because if we wouldn't have found something like this and with this quality, we probably would have said, it's not really working. It's not going to work out. So Snowstorm Pocket was then also found. And here you see, there's a nice example, I think also in the special exhibit cases, just a nice green and a contrast. So first we actually mistook the calcite for aragonite, but later analysis showed that it was indeed calcite. So if you find some of the old labels, you might still find them misprinted with the aragonite. So you never know everything. Again, with flicking, it shows just the difference between with the daylight fluorescence and in incandescent light. Snowstone pocket also produced these luscious small green specimens on the calcite. There is Pavel's pocket, named for Pavel Stashka, who helped us also on the surface project in 2017, really good friend of ours and experienced mineralogist and collector. So we have here Marcus, our good friend, and Mike. Again, there's lots of friends helped us. So, and Ian then decided sometimes with the names that they would be honored in naming some pockets either directly after them or suggestions what were made from those friends. So that's always all the characteristics. So Emerald Peaks really showed those little nice crystals like peeking out of that first generation of fluorite as you see them here. Green Hill, more solid, more included crystals. Again, autumn 2017, so a surface specimen, and you can see they are more included. So the crystals, they are not that luscious, sort of gemmy green, nonetheless very enticing. Queen of Green, who doesn't love Queen of Green? So definitely one of those dream pockets that you want to find. And the first one we hit actually underground in Diana Maria. A few more examples. So here also sometimes you get in the fluorites, you get the fluid inclusions, so like shown here. So that is really fun when you get those moving fluid inclusions, not in all the pockets and not in all the crystals, but the exceptionally large and gemmy crystals, chances were good that we found some fluid inclusions. Again, more examples for Queen of Green pocket. We definitely love that.
That specimen's over there. Yeah.
So, yes. Just to see the size. But that's just the exception of the rule. So lesser known pocket with the galena pocket. First time we had the association with big galena crystals. Also quartz sometimes over it. First purple, the purple haze. So that we found here in autumn 2018. And the real beauty when you look, so we are showing you slides of specimens now. Now you notice something. Oh, wow, there's galena, there's purple, there's different greens, there's calcite. That is really one thing that surprises us every time we discover a new pocket in Diana Maria Mine. The change of color, associations, as we progress mining specimens. We just hear another, yes?
And one thing you notice in some of these slides, we just stopped Diana there. Everybody thinks we take the calcite off the fluorite, but we don't. It's one thing we find in the mine, and Jesse knows this very well as well from his time. When you have the most perfect gem quality crystals, the calcite either never grew on there or just came off so easily in the pocket, because the gem quality of the crystals meant that it was so difficult for anything to adhere to it, especially the clay. Usually when you take a crystal out of the mine, there's clay on it. But you'll find that when you're in a very good pocket with amazing gem crystals, the clay just washes off so easily. So it's always a good indicator of the quality. If underground you see like this, you start seeing the little black spots. Those are the little greeny black spots. Those are the gem crystals, and the clay and the water was just straight off of them.
So there you see the crystals peeking out, the clay, and then there the roof plates hanging there. And that quality of fluorite will usually really exceed all expectations. So when you're finding a cavity of fluorite, you have to imagine that everything that grows in the roof has more freedom to grow and develop. So these are usually better quality than when you look at the bottom of a cavity. And then these clay bands are really protecting the fluorites, I'm sure Ian said this already, from those collapsed pockets. So most cavities within the Diana Maria Mine, they are actually collapsed cavities. So it's not just, oh, I found a hole and there's crystals. Frosterley pocket here, just a side note, really, because the Diana Maria mine is obviously located between the town of Frosterley and Stanhope, hence the Frosterley pocket as a name given for the vicinity to Frosterley. Just a few examples of that Frosterley pocket. Again, so it changes within the pocket. It changes, some were with, some without the calcite. It is just a continuation. Green sugar, you have the quartz, small gemmy crystals, and the quartz looking like little sugar cubes. We don't surely need to go through all, so it's just an example. Papa pocket. So my dad, so hence Papa pocket, and he actually mined the majority of that pocket we found in May 2019, and Ian thought it was appropriate to say, hey, why not name it Papa pocket? So, and maybe you're lucky and you can buy a Papa pocket specimen still here of Papa. So all is possible. A few more examples. YI. So first time we found this really limey green in the mine. And so in the YI pocket, YI is actually a common saying, YI man. So that's how they greet you. You first think when you're coming to the north of England, I thought I speak English, so it's not my first language. When I went up north, I definitely didn't understand a thing. I realized, what are they talking about? Is this English?
We still have that problem.
Usually I just say, yeah, okay, or no.
But one thing to notice here, between this pocket and this pocket, that's a considerable distance there, probably about 150 feet, something like that, 100 feet. That was very, very, very expensive in a very dry period. So that was about a year where we didn't find anything. So you don't always find pockets. And during this time, you know, very often it was on my mind was, how much do I love my wife? Can I really shut the mine? Because this lean period really did hurt. And if it wasn't for the fact that the intersection zone was just here, and just how much I love my wife, Diana Maria would have been closed.
I'm glad it didn't, to be honest. So here, just to highlight that also within the different zones and within the different pockets, you can experience some really, really great zoning of the bands. So not, as we know, all the fluorite from Diana Maria mine is daylight fluorescent, but not all have this really deep blue or purple fluorescence. Sometimes you only see zones that fluoresce. So here, a very nice detailed photograph of the gushing water pockets. So the different zones will then fluoresce, while the core or some of the yellow zoning won't fluoresce. So I think there is some more detail coming in one of the next slides where this is nicely shown. Again, just a few examples, gushing water pocket.
And why did we call it gushing water? Because when we hit it, we really had heavy water flow coming out of it for about 2 days. And we thought, wow, this is it. We've hit a huge walking cavity that's going to take us years to mine. But after about a week, it was exhausted, and we just always puzzled where the water came from, but that was it.
4th of July pocket, found close to the 4th of July, or on the 4th of July in 2019. Again, very, very tiny cavity with exceptional lustrous purple fluorite. Hence, it's not always possible to feature and make these huge releases. So some of those pockets are just tiny. You find maybe a handful of specimens in them. So it's not always big outcrops. So mining is really always an adventure. So that's what I was talking about. So you have the northern flats, so produce these pale yellowish crystals, and only the outer layer fluoresces. So you don't have that fluorescence saturating through the crystal. Again, here, nice detailed photography, thanks to our own Olga. Yeah, and explanations of the golden honey core and the thick blue purple bands that are really saturating through those crystals. Again, it's not on all the crystals. It tends to be on the more larger, gemmier crystals that zoning is presenting itself, while the deeper or the more matrix closed crystals won't show that. Weardale heather. So every time you're going around August, September time to Weardale, you have these huge fields, fells of heather The purple pocket was called Weardale heather because it reminded us the fields were in full bloom just a few months prior, and it reminded us so, and it impressed us so much that Weardale heather was the name for this pocket. Again, combinations with the quartz buster pocket. So that's where my knowledge fails me, because I have no idea Buster and Douglas Treadle, aka Buster. So that is obviously something that
one of our miners is a big Buster. He was a singer back in the 70s, I guess, and he was a big fan of Buster Blood Vessel. And he said, when I was mining that pocket, I almost burst all my blood vessels. It was a lot of hard work because it was right up there in the roof. So.
Right. So truffle pig. So there's Simon. Simon was in. So it was a pocket where you didn't think you would find a pocket. It was on the floor. Not ideal, but no drama. So better than finding it above your head. So, and he was in that hole like a truffle pig. He was not giving up. He saw the green, shiny big crystals on the end of that hole, and he was digging. So, like
some people have a natural affinity for crystals, and Simon does have a nose for crystals. He really is our fluorite hunting truffle pig. And I will correct you, Anna, because the worst place to find a cavity is in the floor. What does it mean? It means that because that was our main drive, one of our main drives, and you cannot just take out the floor and then expect to be able to use that drive to get to the deposits further on. So we actually had to put it on hold, and we mined out what we could from truffle pig and scratch our heads and work out, God, how are we going to be able to mine that? How are we going to be able to mine that pocket? Because it's the wrong elevation. What did we have to do? Well, we made a plan. So the truffle pig here is on what we call the intersection drive. And the intersection drive is the drive to the Sutcliffe veins here, river catcher veins here. And the intersection drive was planned so that we drove through here to explore what was on the western side, where there's some western flats along the Greenbank vein. And we drove along here, and the last thing we could do was make a big hole here by taking out the pocket, because it would have meant that then we couldn't finish our development, and we'd have had to make bigger plans to do all of this. So what did we do? We actually then came all the way back here to what we call the Milky Way decline, and this is going downhill into the vein. And then the idea was to go downhill and spiral. So this is going down about 2 meters here. So there's a spiral just gradually going down and down and down to try and intersect the truffle pig pocket, which we hypothesized would continue out as far as we could. And sure enough, we've actually just hit it underground now after about a year and a half work, and thankfully we found pockets on the way through there. So over the next 12 months, we will be able to take out the rest of the truffle pig pocket. And it's sometimes mining's like that. You can't just take out what you find. You have to be very methodical. You have to do it very safely. And just because it's there, it doesn't mean you can take it out. You have to make a proper mining plan so that you don't sterilize ground, you don't make dangerous holes. You've got to do it very safely.
Another few pictures of larger plates of the truffle pig, and truffle pig really produce some exceptionally large crystals that we hadn't seen before in Diana Maria. So maybe not the gemmiest, but certainly very impressive in size and color. Milky Way, very popular, so really this teal green, bluish color of fluorite here, fluorescent picture on that side, and you see also how it is sort of a first and second generation of fluorites as you're looking at a larger plate, and the white inclusions or the inclusions of the crystals really sort of sometimes reminded us of the Milky Way structure as the picture is slotted in here. Sometimes also with quartz, and then a pocket following on from Milky Way is supernova. So we thought namesake would be good to continue, and supernova mainly on quartz, covered with quartz. Sometimes you have the iron inclusions in the quartz would make it appear more orangey, sometimes even black within the pocket. And here you see, so that is kind of interesting. So when you're wondering what this is, it's really where little quartz crystals had penetrated the fluorite crystal and it just popped out. So it's really cool, this natural sort of etching occurring, or where the quartz has been missing One of the pockets we are planning to release soon, maybe. A Yum Yum pocket mined in October, or is mined currently, found in October 2023 when our really good friends Effie and Anna were with us having a tour. So it would be the Yum Yum pocket. So there's more pockets still to be mined and to be found and to be released, which is great for us. So that's something to come. So here you have showing on the Sutcliffe vein intersection Greenbank vein.
So one of the things we're hoping to do now is now we've hit the Greenbank vein, we thought, well, let's drive back along it, because the old Rogerley mine's way down here, it's about 300 feet to connect through to the old Rogerley workings. So as Diana said, they're now unsafe, so we're going to slowly mine back along here to explore the vein to see if there is anything there. And on the way back here, we found some of the best pockets we've ever found: heavy metal, smoky rabbit, and Bella. So heavy metal was quite a major pocket, and it was it was great because we spent a couple of $1 million doing all this tunnel work, and the plan was right here we would hit some enriched zones, and it doesn't matter how good a geologist you think you are, you always need a little bit of luck. And we certainly had some luck, because within 3 or 4 feet of where we estimated we would hit good fluorite, we hit good fluorite, and it was in the shape of the heavy metal pocket, which was great because it was the first time we'd had great combinations with galena. And then the smoky rabbit pocket. This is another example of a pocket that we hit in the wrong place. We just hit the top of it. It's right underneath our main haulage, which is the level that this is declining now. We can't take it out. And the Bella pocket was right beside it. These two pockets, we just can't take them out yet. It's something that maybe can happen in the future, but it's going to take a lot of planning, a lot of work to be able to do it. Smoky rabbit, there are only a handful of specimens we found. Very unusual, almost smoky quartz color.
Yes.
The Bella pocket, we found the Bella pocket and named it after Annabella, who appeared a year before then, our little COVID experiment. And this was, again, in the floor. What a place to find a cavity. It's just such a pain. And the Bella pocket produced some just beautiful small crystals, but the gem quality was just fabulous. So everything's fresh, and gem quality was really remarkable. This one we look forward to in the future, if we can find a way to mine it. And maybe one of the last pockets we mine if we ever abandon the mine, because we can't touch it until the time's right. Two of your favorite pockets?
Two of my favorite pockets, so bypass pocket and hidden forest pocket on the Greenbank vein again. So, geology, your department.
So in the these are our new geological maps. So you can see we actually spend a lot of time and effort mapping every fault, every intersection. We're quite methodical with it, and it does help us to predict. When we've got these north-south faults, we can reasonably accurately know when we see one of those faults, there's a very good chance of some mineralization there. It's found us a couple of good pockets so far. So just south of the heavy metal pocket was the bypass pocket. We tried to put it, we called it the bypass pocket because this area is very, very unstable, and we decided for mining's sake we had to come back and put a new tunnel in here and try and push through the Greenbank vein to find out what was the other side, but it was so unstable it collapsed. So we managed to retrieve a few specimens, and then we had to abandon it before we could find the whole pocket. These faulted areas can be very challenging, and when you have miners underground, the last thing you want to have is an accident. So if we see any danger, we just leave it. And the quality was great, but they're still there. We'll never mine them. It's just too dangerous. Hidden forest. This is on the western flats of the the Greenbank veins. The Greenbank veins here. Hidden Forest was just in here, exactly where we had hoped to find specimens, and some of the nicest specimens we found in the mine so far came out of there. The cavities are, it's a series of small cavities that are interconnected, and we just call the whole thing the Hidden Forest pocket. It's amazing what's hidden a few feet ahead of you. You just never know. Every blast you think, wow, I had no idea that was there. And you get this crazy zoning in there. It's if you look in the cabinets outside, there are some very good examples from the Hidden Forest pocket. And I think up there on the top shelf, you can see we had huge crystals up to a couple of inches, big twins. And that again was from the Hidden Forest pocket. Fabulous zoning, very, very fresh fluorite as well. Great daylight fluorescence. So that piece is on the top shelf. River catcher vein, well. When we put the project together, we did some open pit work. So here we found enough to make us excited about spending all the money and driving along here. We did some open pit work here on the river catcher open cut, and we were very excited because we found yellow crystals, and we came up with this great hypothesis that we could have our project based on mining greens and purples along this vein, and this vein would give us yellows. Well, that didn't quite work out. So as you can see, there are not many pockets along that particular vein. We found very, very little. Some of our favorites there, this was the autumn pocket, and this was Naughty Gnome. We'll talk about them in a minute. But very few pockets along there. It's not such a big vein as the Sutcliffe vein, but it's been very interesting. We found some pretty good things there. So this is just a quick geological section of the river catcher Greenbank intersection. So this is what we drew up. This was our hypothesis that we would get these. So this is the outline of the flats. So you can see here around the intersection axis here. We thought, well, we're going to get some bleed out here, and the size of the flats is going to be enormous. Well, it wasn't so big going in along the vein, but certainly when we got to this intersection zones, we were spot on. This has proved to be a very, very rich area. In fact, the river catcher vein intersection has been better than the Sutcliffe vein intersection. And it's worth quickly noting here. So this is showing some depth. So in this is the great limestone here, but there are stacked shale bands underneath here. So you do get in the Weardale system above the granite, you don't just get one shale band, you can get multiple shale bands, and that's why some of the mines were very rich and actually attained fairly great depths. So Greedy Hog, so this is exactly where I was telling you, one of the nicest pockets ever of green fluorite ever found in Weardale, and again right here on the intersection zone, exactly in the orange area where I was saying we were hoping to get the the bleed out enrichment, and this has been absolutely fabulous. The quality, the association with the gleaner, certainly one of our best sellers, one of everybody's favourites. Other pockets. That's just going back to the geology. Part of the project now is to try and find. We've not been able to find another vein here to the north, but we're hoping to be able to find the next vein here, because certainly the intersections of the veins are, those are our primary targets. River catcher. How did it get its name? It was basically a typo from the SRK. We employed SRK to come and do our original geological assessment, and they in their report named it River Catcher, named after the River Catcher beer, which just a useless bit of info for you guys. But this is a nice cross section we did of the River Catcher vein breccia. It clearly shows, this is you've got the vertical movement here, and the formation of there's two wings. So you get these mushrooms basically, and the northern flats here, southern flats there, and eventually the whole thing collapses, and occasionally you'll get the fluorite areas in here, and you can see that you can just imagine how much natural damage comes out. So one of the factors of Weardale mineralization, and any mineralization really from this style of Mississippi Valley type mineralization, as soon as you get these collapsed breccias, you get a lot of damage. So that's why undamaged specimens are still very rare. So even though in the pictures you see a lot of fluorite, a lot of it it's just worthless. The damage, you get a lot of grinding and just natural grinding. These things just grind the crystals to death sometimes, and sometimes you just want to cry. It's like this, you know, how does a good crystal survive in that? And that's the reality of mining in Weardale. It's it just crushed. Everything gets crushed. This shows. We were very excited because the whole river catch vein was going to be yellow. Just didn't happen. I think Ian Jones here found one of our best ones in one of the rocks that had rode down the face from our open cut. It's still, I think, still the best river catchy that we found. We missed that one. Autumn pocket, one of everybody's favourites. One of our most requested pockets. It wasn't very big. Great combination with the fluorite on the iron stained quartz. Wish we had more of that. I'm taking on the talk here.
No, but that's all right. You carry on. You know, you're on full flow here.
Autumn pocket. We've tried to find an extension. Just didn't happen. Naughty gnome. We actually named it after one of our miners that was misbehaving. So he doesn't know it, but this is a very unusual pocket here. You get this quartz banding, very different than the Sutcliffe vein, very different than Rogerley. You get this beautiful quartz banding here. See this? Look. So you got a quartz band here. Nice white, snow white quartz. Nice green crystals all growing into the clay. And the prize is when you get the quartz and the fluorite showing at the same time. There you go, just like this. So you can show, and this is a nice early generation. So these are quartz coating early generation fluorspar here, fluorite here, and then this later generation of green. Occasionally with these nice little galena crystals. Very nice contrast. Honey bear, this was a surprise. So we're in here, we're just here now, just in at the intersection with the Greenbank vein, and lo and behold, we found a nice yellow pocket, which we called honey bear, Diana's favourite pocket.
Yes, definitely.
And not many of them. The cavity was only a couple of feet by a couple of feet. We've looked and looked. It's now quite a good sized hole, and we just haven't found any more. So we were lucky to get that. Very rare for Weardale. Very few good yellows out of the Weardale district. Northern Lights, we're actively mining that right now, trying to find an extension. The main pocket is finished, but again, right on the intersection zone here. Big mixing of fluids. Look at this zoning. Sometimes you get 6 or 7 zones through there, and it's very, very distinct. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And one of the things that we've also found is a lot of quartz in this. So again, on the river catcher vein, you get a lot of this quartz, and unusually in this one cavity, we found octahedral galenas, and just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful specimens. Great combinations.
And it just goes to show within a pocket how much it changes. So you have those that are literally just these nicely zoned crystals that Ian just described, the ones with the galenas, without galena, and then you have the quartz coated ones that have a much darker green. So as you go through the cases or the drawers in our showroom, you see the difference within one pocket of quality of fluorite and just how many faces one pocket can have.
And just for a bit of fun, I don't know why on earth she did it, but Debbie Boyer, our gallery president, she went to Finland to take her grandson there for Christmas to see Santa Claus, and she took a piece of Northern Lights, and actually that's a real picture. She held it up against the Northern Lights just to show what the name came from, because we'd seen a lot of Northern Lights in the north of England, and that's what was the inspiration for the name. And if you want to go and get one of our booklets in our gallery, there's a little story about where each name came from. So there's some of the octahedral galenas from Northern Lights. And not only does my wife usually like to have the first word, she likes to have the last word. So thank you, Diana Maria, for a wonderful mine.
Well, thank you for making it possible and giving in to me after years of badgering you, literally. Yeah, I think you couldn't cope with the earache anymore. No, it's really a thank you really for anyone that is involved with the project. Thank you for the talk. Phil Taylor, who can't be with us, was helping us with the talk. Olga, who took fantastic photographs, none the least of the miners and mine managers, and Ian, really, who stamped this out of the ground and really was interested to doing this and taking it over and stuck with it. So that's always great fun, and nothing better than be underground and mining fluorite, finding new pockets.
Any questions? We'll be happy to answer them.
Ian, we have a question online. Someone is asking, Shanice is asking, is there another vein in the quarry, the Hollywell?
Sorry, Brian?
We've got an online viewer, Shanice, asking if there is another vein in the quarry called the Hollywell, and if there's the possibility of working that vein.
I'll get you in a minute. There is another vein called the Hollywell vein. It's about half a mile south of the Anna Maria complex. It would be too far to get down there, but there are other possibilities. So we haven't forgotten about Hollywell. Okay.
Again, in most of your pictures of the drives, the timber didn't look like it was taking any weight.
Oh, it is.
Is that misleading pictures?
Yeah, one of the features of specimen mining is it's very particular because you cannot do very large scale mining. It doesn't suit it. You're just going to blow up every cavity. There's no way you can do it. The only way to carefully mine specimens is to get up close and intimate, and you have to do it in a very small, controlled environment. The geology of the Great Limestone, just below the shale band, there's a bed of limestone. It's called the tumbler beds. Now, why did they call it the tumbler beds? Because these beds, this is a very broken limestone. It's like big cubes held up by clay, basically. And one of the features of Weardale in this particular horizon is these big blocks of limestone like to tumble out on top of miners. And the last thing we want is a fatality in the mine. And we have extremely strict support controls to make it an extremely safe environment. So if we have a working face, our current rules are the miner cannot do any collecting more than 80 centimeters. 80 centimeters, so what's that? That's about 2 feet. So 2 feet, so the miner cannot advance more than 2 feet beyond the timber. Every inch of the roof in the Anna Maria mine is timbered. It's a very expensive operation, but it's very safe, and it has to be that way. So if we early on, we didn't have such strong in our operations. We didn't have such strict rules, and we'd set it at 1.20 meters, so we'd set it at perhaps 4 feet, and we had a couple of big blocks come down in lunch breaks. So think about that. If the miner had been there or overnight, if the miner had been underneath it, we'd have had a fatality or an injury. So we actually, as the owner of the mine, the buck stops here. So if we have a fatality or a bad injury in the mine, I'm in trouble because I haven't done my job properly. So we're extremely strict. We've been working there for 7 years now. We've, touch wood, we've done it very safely, and it just has to be that way. So our landlord at the mine is also owns a sawmill. He loves us.
I thought somebody might.
Yeah.
Timber's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. Steve.
I'd like to talk to you about a technique that I think would be very appropriate for what you're describing.
Okay.
Ian, any analysis on the fluid inclusion?
The fluid inclusions. Any announcement? Any work done on the fluid inclusions? No, not enough really. There have been works done to determine the temperature of mineralization. We've had a team from Berlin University. Professor Luders has been over several times to the mine in the last 2 years. They're doing some fascinating work now on different ideas for the emplacement of the mineralizing fluids. Why is each band that particular color? And I know some work has been done over here about that with the rare earths, because the rare earths cause a lot of color variation, but also interestingly, there seems to be within certain bands and certain early generations of fluorite, a lot of just hydrocarbons. So the yellow in the middle of the succulent vein is due to hydrocarbons and not rare earths. It's an ongoing story. So I think over the next few years we will see a paper being released about exactly what is the story, where, how many different stages of mineralization are there. That's why you get so many different zonations there, because there are so many different stages of mineralization, so many different pulses of different flavored fluids coming up from the granite batholith. Jesse.
If you look at these things under long wave view, the yellows from the entire North Pennines are remarkably weak in fluorescence.
Yeah.
It's the greens and the purples, and there's a very delicate, distinctive zonation. And I've gotten some preliminary work done by the lab up here at U of A on this, where they just did some sectional mapping, and it shows very discrete bands of a number of the different rare earth elements: lanthanum, europium, cerium, on and on and on. And they're all segregated into what I think are the different color bands. Now that's going to take a bit more analytical work, which they said they would do, and they haven't yet. And this is what you get when you pay for nothing. You get nothing, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely related to the rare earths.
Yep. It's a developing story, and it'd be nice to understand. It also has very, very big implications for exploring for further fluorspar deposits. The Weardale is still very rich in unworked fluorspar deposits. The story's not over there. We hope that over the next few decades we'll see the reopening of a few major mines there for fluorspar and lead production. So watch this space. Let's see. Let's hope there's more crystals to be found. Anyone else?
You just have to spend money.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. I hope we didn't bore you too much, but we enjoyed giving that.